Coffee with the Chair was recorded before a live studio audience.
Welcome to Coffee with the Chair. I'm Teresa Aronson from the St. Lucie County Chamber of Commerce. I'm here as I always am this entire year. It has been a pleasure. We have at least a couple more months with you, which I'm happy about. Please welcome the Board of County Commission Chair, Kathy Townsend.
Good morning.
Good morning. Always nice to see you. We typically get a new chair annually here, and I think it doesn't happen until like December or January.
Yeah, December is the new chair. We do it at the end of November.
Very good. And you got a pretty new crop of commissioners and a couple running again, so it's going to be a crazy year next year.
It sure is. 3 of us are running.
Oh, that's right. I was thinking it was only 2, but you're right. 3 of you are running again. It's going to be a crazy year next year.
It is. President. It's an active year.
It's a very active year. It's so funny because we're doing Government Day in Leadership, which you're familiar with leadership. And we always do a forum and we're like, well, we don't have anything this year. There's no races. Nobody's qualified, So, but next year is going to be nuts.
Yes, it's a busy year always with the presidential election.
It is. Also, this time of year, trim notices came out last month, so people should have gotten those in their mail. And that is 3 scenarios of property taxes, none of which you should pay at this time.
Correct. It's just a notice saying that if the millage stays the same, it's going to be that price. And if we change it to what we have tentatively set, it'll go to that price. And the first column is what your taxes are currently.
Yes. Yeah. Because every year your housing value goes up and you pay a little more, your assessed value goes up. So you're going to pay a little more generally.
Well, and that we had our budget hearing last night, actually. And that is a very, very, very big concern this year, that property values were up 17%. And so even with homestead property, your values are going to go up 3%.
Mm-hmm.
And so there is a lot of people also that have purchased homes here.
Mm-hmm.
And when they came, they bought their homes with cash. They don't have mortgages. And so that changes the market. And so, when you buy property, you have prorated taxes. And so when you get your tax bill, you see what the taxes were, but that's what the prior owner paid.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know how long that owner had been in the home. You don't know what that owner paid for the house. And so the taxable value that you see when you purchase the home
is not yours.
There was a lot of people at the meeting last night, their taxes had doubled. Well, 2 of the examples, when we looked them up, one homeowner had been in the house for 20 years, had homestead exemption the entire time. And from the time of what that was to what this new resident had purchased, her taxes did double. But the value was 2 times more than what it was being taxed on from that original owner.
Yeah.
Outside the fact she had paid only taxes for the 4 months of the prorated taxes from the year she purchased it. So when she actually got her tax bill, her taxes had gone up $10,000. And I feel terrible about that. But there's a lot of people that happened to, because there were so many new homeowners last year in St. Lucie County.
Yes.
And a lot of them came and paid cash, and a lot of them purchased homes from people that had been there for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a shock. I mean, when you look at those numbers.
And I think being from up north, they don't understand how it works here. They literally think, oh, the taxes on this house aren't bad because it's all public record. And so they really have no idea what they're getting into. And for me, I bought my house at auction during the recession, and we rehabbed it. And so I got in very low, homesteaded it. And then it's worth 4 to 5 times what I paid for it. Probably 4 times right now. By the time I sell it, maybe 5.
So that's an example. You bought it at an auction.
Yep.
And you've been in it for
a decade.
Okay. So if I come along and buy it, now I'm going to buy it. So let's just say you paid $75,000 for it. I buy it at $500. I'm taxed on $500.
You are.
So my taxes are going to go up 4 times of what yours are.
Yep.
And that's what I don't think people understand.
Yeah.
And I try to explain it to them at the meeting. Of course, property appraiser has staff there. We have staff there.
Yeah.
But the other thing is there's a lot of people that were there that came from New York. and they don't understand because, New York is a whole different system than Florida.
It is.
Listen, I'm not denying our taxes are high. Anybody that knows me knows
Yeah.
I'll be the first to agree they're high. And if I could, I always try to find a way to lower them. And in the last three years, for sure, we have lowered them.
You've
And they are
lowered the
being
millage
lowered
rate.
this year.
Mhm.
The millage rate is getting lowered this year. We also did away with the parks, MSTU. We're not having that anymore in the county. We did away with that. Unfortunately, I am one of you. I'm a taxpayer. So I feel your pain. I am blessed that I own 2 homes. I have one that's rental property, and those taxes on that house actually went up $1,200 this year. So because I'm
'Cause
not
you're-
homestead exemption,
Yeah, you have
and so and from a
investment.
good perspective is it went up because the values went up.
Yeah.
Right. But it's not good that it went up because I don't want to have to pay that much more money a year in taxes.
Yeah.
And I am also very fortunate that I have amazing renters that have been there for 10 years. And I don't have a large mortgage on that home.
Good.
So I don't have to pass that on to them with what they pay in rent. It's still sustainable in the rental house. And so I don't have to go in and they're a young couple. They've been there
Aw.
for a long time. So I'm not having to increase the rent, but I can tell you that does affect rent.
It sure does.
When people and investors have property and taxes go up in insurance is another problem.
Huge problem.
That, a lot of the people that have rental property have multiple rental homes.
Yeah.
And so it's a business. Mine's not a business. That was just a house I had before I ever married. And I just never got rid of it. And I've kept it as a rental house, as a fallback in case one of my kids ever grew up and needed a place. But if you are an investor and you do own rental property, you rent the houses to make money. It's a business. And so when taxes are higher and insurance goes
is
up,
higher.
you're going to increase the rent because you offset your cost.
Yeah.
And so it does. It trickles down. It affects everybody, and it affects the tenants.
Yeah.
And not just St. Lucie County, Florida, it as a whole has gotten very, very expensive to live here. And sadly, I don't believe that my children 15 years from now are going to be able to afford to live in Florida.
It is pricey. It's paradise, and there's a surcharge for that. But I think insurance is a huge issue right now. There was just a town hall locally a couple nights ago where they talked about insurance, and there's varying opinions on how that's going to shake out. I think I have some of my own, but I'm not positive.
Well, they're talking about it in Tallahassee. It's going to be in session. It is a big debate right now. The governor is trying to do what he can to try to hold the insurance companies accountable. We know that we have the storms here, and we live in a state that disasters happen more so than probably any other state besides California. So and I don't know how to fix it, but the things that people don't understand is, yes, our budget's $705 million, and there was people that were saying our job is to do public safety and sidewalks. That's not true. You come here because you want parks. You want places to ride your bike. You want libraries. We have a lot
You
of
want all kinds
well,
of
we have a lot of
things.
families in St. Lucie County that homeschool their children, and they depend on our libraries. We have a lot of people here that cannot afford internet. They depend on our libraries for their access to the internet. And so the other thing people don't understand is we fund the sheriff. The sheriff is $107 million of our budget. I'm not going to compromise public safety. I think we have an amazing sheriff's department. We have men and women that keep us safe and protect us, along with the police departments, but that's funded through the city. But I'm not going to compromise public safety. And so I'm going to work with our sheriff, and I'm going to find a way to give them what they need because I want to keep our residents safe. And our crime in the unincorporated county is low.
Very low.
It's a very low crime rate because we have a good sheriff's department and men and women that are dedicated and care. So, that's $107 million of the $700 million of our budget.
Yeah.
We have to do inmate medical. People don't understand. We fund the jail.
Yeah.
And when you're out there and you need medical help, we have to pay for that because unfortunately, state law, once you are arrested, not even convicted, found guilty, the day you're arrested and you go to jail, it doesn't matter if you have Blue Cross and Blue Shield. We, the taxpayers, pay all health care for inmates. So people don't understand that. Our inmate medical's $10 million last year. And so when you take the roads and the swales and the libraries and the parks and the jail, and you take all of that, it's a lot of money.
And listen, it's not even the tip of the iceberg, realistically. There is so much more that go into governance, and the end user only sees the end user facilities. But you have to think about the regulatory process too. You have to pay engineers and traffic studies and environmentalists to make sure that everything is built here, that's happening here, is safe for our community. You can't just let anybody do anything they want to do. So the cost for each individual department, if you look at the line items, which you can because the budget is a public record, it is everything. It's everything that affects your life. It's not even just parks and libraries.
Well,
it's like all the things.
But even out of our budget, we fund the supervisor of elections. We fund the tax collector, clerk of court, property appraiser, the judges, the judicial system. The state attorney, the public defender's office. So all of the court system is funded through our budget. People don't understand. They don't realize all of those constitutional officers and your judicial system is funded through us. Now, clerk of court and tax collector, a lot of their budget is funded through the
enterprise funds.
The enterprise funds, the bills that they collect, whatever. But we still do fund some of that department. We as a county build and maintain the buildings they're in. So the clerk of court building downtown, that doesn't come out of her budget. It's her budget, but the building is maintained by the Board of County Commissioners. We built that building. We maintain that building. The AC breaks, the courthouse. We have to put that comes out of our budget.
The Mets, and why do we do the Mets? Everybody says that, oh, it's baseball. Why do we? Because what the Mets bring in terms of economic development to our community is invaluable to local business, which means the end users, right? The people that live
here. And so there's just so much. So like last night, I suggested to them, we have the Citizens Academy class, which if none of you have taken, I would recommend that you do. It's a class you take. And you learn all about the system and how it works. You go to the jail, you go to emergency operations, you go to the landfill, you see the single stream. You understand and go through every single aspect of how government is ran. We also have the Citizens Budget Advisory Board. Each commissioner appoints somebody to that board, and it's open to the public. And if you would just go to those meetings, because you can go, and you go to those meetings and listen, you can ask questions, it's public comment. You'll see how they line item every single thing in our budget. They tear our budget apart, that advisory board does. And they make a recommendation to us. And then we take that recommendation based on what we have when we go through our budget. And so the sad thing is people don't understand it's a year process to get there. What happens is you don't hear anything all year. You get your trim notice and you go, oh gosh. And then you show up 2 weeks later because it's advertised for our meeting. And by the time you get there, we've already kind of tentatively set the millage rate. We can't really go back. We have a little bit of leeway, and I do think we'll get there. I do think that what you see in your trim notice today is not going to happen. No? I do not. I believe we will lower the millage rate a little bit more. Okay. I do feel that we will get there. I still think there's a little bit of wiggle room. And that's the other thing people don't understand is it's a tentative. We can never go above that once we set it, but we can go lower. And so we do try to find a way from the time we tentatively set that. You have to have 2 hearings, but the time we get to the second hearing, we do try to find. We found another $1 million. We gave it to the sheriff yesterday. So we ended up giving him now an additional $1.5 million over and above what we had originally agreed to from the first budget hearing when we left our budget hearing.
Okay.
So there's wiggle room, and I do think that there will be another small
decrease in the millage rate.
Yeah.
Which doesn't necessarily result in less dollars paid.
Well, so an example is City of Fort Pierce, St. Lucie Village. Those are 2 municipalities that are increasing the millage rate. So as much as we're lowering it, if you live in St. Lucie Village or you live in the City of Fort Pierce, the City of Port St. Lucie, I don't know, they haven't decided yet.
They're lowering too, I think.
Okay, well, the City of Fort Pierce is raising.
Yeah.
And so is St. Lucie Village. So if you live in those 2 municipalities, even though we're lowering the millage rate and they're raising it, your taxes are going to go up. And that's what people don't understand.
Also, you're only a small portion.
We're 33% of your tax bill.
Right? So you're 33% of my tax bill. So let's say I pay $1,000. You're 33%, right? That's, $3,300 of it goes to you. My value that I'm assessed on is going to go up 3%. So even if you decreased yours by 3%, I'm only going to get a decrease of 3% on 33%. So
Right.
in reality, when people say we've reduced the millage rate, it doesn't mean your bill is going to be reduced. It's the amount you're going to give to the county is going to be reduced. And typically, I've never seen a city reduce by a full 3%. That would be crazy.
Oh, I don't think that that's possible.
No, that is a
I mean,
huge reduction.
Well, just think about where everybody works, right? Unless you're in a career that you're commissioned.
yeah.
But where you work, look at gas, look at groceries. Everything's gone up.
Yeah, there's no chance.
And every single year things go up. I've never known a year where things have come down.
No.
And so we are very blessed that we have the longevity of employees here in St. Lucie County. And when you go to work here, rarely do our employees leave. And they end up retiring out at 30, 35 years. And so what does that mean? Well, okay, if we hire in at, say, $20 an hour, every year we're not hiring in at $20 an hour. Every year those employees get a 3% raise. So 20, so they also get bumped up. They get bumped up to supervisors and directors because the longevity of them being here. So you constantly, whenever you increase salaries, up goes the COLA, up goes the Social Security. And so you're never, ever going to, if you didn't change anything and no employees changed, your budget would still rise just because the cost of doing business.
Yeah.
Parts are more. A dump truck we bought 5 years ago is now, $50,000 more. So it's life.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying, again, I'm not saying our taxes aren't too high, because they are. And the other misconception is, most of you probably know this because you attend these meetings and you're involved in the community, but St. Lucie County was the first and only county in the state of Florida out of 67 counties. We do not fund our fire department. They're not a part of our budget. Years ago, it went out for referendum. The voters voted, and you decided to let them be a standalone taxing authority. And what that means is that's 4 more mills that you pay on your tax bill. So every other county, that was funded through the Board of County Commissioners. The fire department of St. Lucie County can go up to 4 mills. And so you have a line item in your tax bill, and 4 mills of your taxes goes directly to the fire department. Now, I'm not saying that as a negative. I'm just saying, personally, I think the sheriff should be its own standalone taxing authority. I feel that the sheriff we should go out for referendum and let the sheriff have their own taxing authority like the fire department, because it holds those departments accountable, really.
It does.
And so the thing is, when you look at your bill and you look at the millage rate overall, we are the highest in the state of Florida. But when you take out the fire department and you take out the school board and you take out the water districts and you look at your base ad valorem tax of what we give you, we are not the highest. We're mid within the state of Florida. So our taxes are high. Again, I'm not saying they're not.
Yeah.
And they're the highest in the state, but it's not because of your base rate based on your ad valorem taxes given to you by the Board of County Commissioners.
No, it's not. And so unless all of these taxing districts, which is what many of them are, some of them are non-ad valorem, you've got in Port St. Lucie, you pay your trash on your property tax bill.
Well, you do in the county too.
Yeah. In the city, you don't. In the city of Fort Pierce, you don't. But in the county and the city, you do. But unless they all got together and everybody decided to reduce by 3%, then you would see even maybe a steadying, but more than likely.
So this is another thing that people don't understand. I see some realtors here, so they're going to get it. There are developers that when they develop, they take the infrastructure of that property and they form a CDD, which is it's the infrastructure of the roads.
Community
it's a
development.
community development plan.
Yeah.
And what happens is they take the cost and they pass that on to the resident. Tradition's a perfect example of that.
Yeah, the CDDs there are high.
Right. Very, very high in Tradition. And so what happens is it's disclosed when you purchase and you're in a CDD development.
Yeah.
But you don't pay attention. You're excited. You're buying a house. You're not looking at the stuff you're signing. You're so excited because you're buying a house. And then what happens is you get your tax bill. When you get your tax bill, you don't really look at line item by line item. You see it. And then you have a friend that lives over here off of Arosa. your taxes are $5,000 more, but she's not in a CDD.
No.
You are, right? And so when you look at your tax bill, now traditional alone, you have our tax,
Mhm.
you have fire district tax, City of Port St. Lucie tax,
Mhm.
and a CDD. You're going to have some of the highest taxes in the entire county just for that reason.
Mhm.
So people don't understand. So you need to look at your trim notice and really look at all the line items. It's okay. I'm okay with them coming to the meetings. I'm okay having conversation with them. I've offered them all to call my office. I'll help explain it. But don't kill the messenger, because it's not always the commissioners that do that. There's so much that goes into this that people just don't understand.
They don't. And, we're going to see more and more CDDs because we're expanding out west.
Yep.
When you expand in agriculture, undeveloped land, uncleared land, the developers are going to build the roads because they must in order to put their development in. The county's not going to go out there and build your road for you. They got to build the road, turn them over.
Not all developers do that.
Not all,
but it is becoming more and more popular.
Yes, because they have found lands that are
Yes.
affordable in St. Lucie County. Now they got to build the infrastructure to get out there. And for them, they're going to pass that cost along to the homeowner, to the buyer, the end consumer. So there's not really any risk, for them. So it is becoming more and more
Yes.
popular. So you're going to see CDDs more and more
You
and
are.
more. And they're expensive, typically.
They're very expensive to be in. And another thing is, on top of that, there were things brought up last night about HOAs. There's HOAs charging mosquito control. Well, if you live in the county, actually city limits, we do it too.
Yeah.
You have a line item that's mosquito control. Not
It
everybody
is.
lives in a mosquito control district, but there is a line item if you are in a district of mosquito control that's on there.
Yeah.
Last night there was a lady there that had her trim notice, and her HOA, they're billed for mosquito control. And I said, well, you need to really have a conversation with your HOA, because they're not providing mosquito control, the county is. But we can't govern HOAs.
You can't. And they may be, doing an additional and they're charging them for that. So I've seen it happen, and
Yeah.
I think it probably.
But again, it's not us.
No,
But it's
not.
a line item in your tax bill. And so
I didn't think they could put it on their tax bill. They could put it on their HOA.
she said it was on their tax bill.
That their HOA was charging.
Yeah, I
it?
was like, I don't know how that can happen. I've actually
Yeah.
scheduled a meeting with her to come in. And I'm going to look
I
at
was
her
gonna say
bill
when
with
you
her.
find out about that, because I can understand why they put it in their HOA bill.
Because I've never known an HOA to be a line item
on a tax
bill, but she's saying it was. But there's a lot of
I
confusion.
mean, they can file a lien, but I don't think
Yeah.
they can do a tax bill line item. Yeah.
I don't think they can
But
either.
here's
But still, she said she was being billed for mosquito control from her HOA.
And I do believe her on that, but
Mhm.
yeah, probably not on her tax bill. But people are confused, right? And why do they have to know all these, idiosyncrasies amongst
Well,
taxes and bills and the rules and CDDs? They don't. They know they like that house, they like that neighborhood, and they want to live there.
But and the reality is, you get up every day, and everybody, we live in a stressed world. We do.
Mhm.
You get up and you're going to work, and you're getting the kids off, and if your kids are grown, you're helping your kids with their grandkids.
Mhm.
And we as parents are assisting our kids, because I have a son that's done very well for himself, and he's done great, but he cannot do what he does and provide for my grandkids what he does without assistance, because of baseball. He needs help picking them up every now and then or whatever. And so, our lives are stressed and they're busy, and you get up and you go, and we're all in survival mode.
Yeah.
And then you get your tax bill, and you know what you make, and you know what you make every month. And if you're blessed enough to not have a mortgage, you probably put a little bit of back in a savings account to know that when it's time, you can write the check out of that. And then you're hit in the face with this bill. It's a lot. I have to say, I'm a commissioner, and I set the millage rate. When I got my bill, I recently sold my home that I was in for 25 years because it was getting so expensive to live in my house.
Mhm.
And I downsized thinking I was going to save money and set myself up for retirement. My husband was retiring this year. And that same home that was 5,000 square feet, a $350 electric bill, and taxes were like $8,000, I went into a 1,400 square foot home, and I'm no further ahead now, a year and a half later, because what the FPUA has done with their rates, I'm at $350 in a 1,400 square foot house electric. My taxes, $6,000. So moving, I wish now I would have never moved, because it's been a nightmare dealing with this house. But but I have to look at the positive side of that is if I would have stayed in that home, what would my taxes have been this year?
Yeah, what is the bill
and what
look
would
like?
my electric bill be at this point in time because of what the electric's
You were
done?
still on FQA at the old house too, right?
Yes.
So yeah,
So that's what I'm saying.
It could have been
Everything has
crazy.
gone up. I'm blessed. I self-insure. I don't have to pay help, for the insurance. And my philosophy is, with the 20, 30% deductible and then what insurance is, I'm better off to just take a little bit of money and put it to the side because realistically, if something happens, what, $20,000, $30,000 repair, that's still less than what I pay in insurance and a deductible.
yeah.
Not everybody has that option. You have to have the insurance because you have a mortgage. So,
It's tough.
it is tough. And I know it's a shock when you get your bill. And I wish I had a magic wand. I could wave it and say, we're going to lower this, but there's just no way to do it. And it's just like living, me and my husband eat out less.
Mhm.
We don't go out and do the things we used to. We entertain more and have couples over. And instead of going and spending $200 in a restaurant somewhere, we go to each other's houses and play board games and cards. And, that's what it's come to. And it's sad because you work your whole life to retire thinking you're going to travel and do these things. And here you get here and you're not able to do that. And,
Florida's getting more and more expensive.
It is.
It is. And but it doesn't seem to be deterring anybody from moving here.
No, it doesn't.
So it's just going to continue to rise.
It is.
But
And it's, look, Florida's a beautiful state. St. Lucie County is a great county. And, yes, you just have to find ways to just trim back and save for a little bit. I do think that next year the values are probably going to fall. I don't think home values are going to be what they were. I don't think you're going to see an 18% increase.
I think you'll see a small increase. I don't think they'll plummet, but I think
I don't think they're going to plummet, but I don't think you're going to see
17%. No. And that's probably a good thing for longtime residents, honestly. So I'm not mad at it, right?
No, I'm not either. I mean,
I think you're also going to see more and more communities lean towards less development, especially in terms of rooftops, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not economic development, not commercial, but you're going to see more and more boards take the stance that Martin County has long had, which is fewer and fewer rooftops.
Yeah. Well, so that's something last night. Somebody said, I don't know why you have to raise taxes with all these rooftops being built. I said, okay, well, let's use a brief example. Say nobody moves, nobody dies, everything is status quo, except we do have 5,000 new homes. 5,000 new homes. You think that's a lot of taxes? 5,000 homes is a minimum of 10,000 people because everybody's going to have a child or a husband, a spouse. So let's just be conservative and go with 10,000 people. That's 10,000 trips a day. That's 10,000 cars. That's out of that, there's going to be children, hospitals. So you're going to have to build schools. You're going to have more libraries. You're going to have a few more bike paths. Those 10,000 people are going to compromise the system, and what they bring in their taxes is not enough to provide the services that they need. And this was shocking to a lot of people last night. We do not bring in enough money from taxes to run the county. We run the county because we go out for grants. We have to go out and get funding from Washington, and we have to go out and get funding from the state. And if we did not get that money, we would not be able to do what we do in this county.
And don't forget, some of the departments are enterprise funds, so they're sufficient, or at least partially self-sufficient, and you're not even counting that. That's still not part of it.
Exactly. And the developers, sometimes we request stuff from development. Okay, if you want to do this, you have to put in this turn lane, or you have to do this roundabout, or you have to put in the red light. And so I know that people think that the taxes come in and there's all these millions of dollars and it just pays for everything. And that's not how it works. There's not enough money that comes in that we can cover everything.
Yeah. And when they do come, the new houses all pay an impact fee. And in the city of Port St. Lucie, the impact fees, I'm going to say conservatively around $20,000 per house, right?
Say that in the county too.
Yeah. But that $20,000 is for the initial impact. It's not for any ongoing services, right? It's just the initial impact. $20,000 doesn't last long per house, right? And it's only a one-time fee. So you still have to provide service for those people, indefinitely. So it's tough. I do think city county budgets are hard,
They
right? and understanding the nuance of departments is hard, and the importance, because there's an argument, oh, well, we only need life safety issues. But then if you really look into each department, they all are affecting not only your quality of life, but 99% of the time, your life safety as well.
Well, I mean, life safety, just think about it. If you didn't have parks, if you didn't have like our pools, if you didn't have tennis courts, and you had nothing around for people to go and do, our crime would be up.
Mm-hmm.
So then what would happen? The jails would be fuller. We would need more law enforcement, which the budget's going to increase anyways if you have to have more law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
And the budget's going to increase if you have more inmates out there at the jail.
Yeah.
So the services you provide that keep people active and keep them healthy is what brings down the cost of public safety.
And our community does get that to some degree, because 86% of the people that came out to vote for the referendum for Children's Services Council, which is also a taxing district,
Yes.
said, yes, we need that here. Why do we need it here? Because it keeps kids off the street. It gives them alternatives. It gives families of the working class of our community an opportunity to get their kids into programs to make sure they're supervised, to make sure they're cared for, and to have some sort of oversight and wraparound services.
Which some parents, because they cannot afford daycare, but they work till 5 or 6 o'clock, there are programs their kids can go into for free,
Yep.
which saves them money to not pay daycare.
Yeah. And
So
it
that's
keeps
what I'm
those
saying.
kids
There's
off
just
the
so much
street.
that goes into this full circle that people don't understand.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's a complicated issue, but I'm glad we spent a lot of time on it today.
Yeah, so let's
So
talk
we-
about something really good, though,
Okay.
because I know everybody's going to want to know this.
Okay.
So I know that the elephant in the room is you all want to know about Buc-ee's, right?
Oh, yes, yes, yes. We talked about Buc-ee's a little bit at a meeting last month.
So I cannot say for sure that they're coming. I'm going to let you know that they've done a pre-application.
Mhm.
They want to be here. They want to be a partner here. And we have met with them, and we are going to be fast tracking the application. And they have not officially made the official application, only the pre-app.
Yep.
They have met with us, but they do want to be here, and we are committed to doing everything we can to make sure that we have them come.
And it's so funny because I was at a meeting, I think about a month ago, at the city of Fort Pierce, and somebody said, I heard Buc-ee's is coming. I said, oh, you're crazy. We're not getting a Buc-ee's. No way. Literally a week later, I happen to know the people that they hired local
Yes.
help, which I always embrace. I will embrace any company that is smart enough to come in, even though they're a national chain, smart enough to come in and realize they need to hire local help. And they did, and that firm assured me we're getting a Buc-ee's.
We are. They're coming. Yeah. So this is terminology.
We can't technically
Nobody's
say
really
yes.
going to know. I can't technically say they're coming because they've not officially made
Yes.
the true application. But it's pretty.
I think
They want to be here. We want them here. The pre-application's gone in.
Informal.
There is some
assurances.
issues. You know, where their land is in the TVC, towns, villages, and countryside.
Yes.
And with the plan that they have, it's not conducive to the towns, villages, and
No
countryside.
chance.
And so that is why there's been no development up on Indrio Road, because of the towns, villages, and countryside. However, we have had conversations the last couple of months and making some changes to the TVC. And maybe this is the beginning that if we are able to get there and make some changes with the Buc-ee's, then that will pave the path moving forward to some other people coming there. And you'll start to see that corridor develop.
Yeah, the TVC. So the TVC was an overlay, and it was designed to try to keep that area sort of as it was to some degree. And now we're ready for progress. But it's so funny to me because one of the people that helped draft the TVC language as a government employee is now working on the other side for Buc-ee's.
Yes,
So hopefully
she is.
it'll work out well.
Yes.
So we'll see how it goes. But I'm sure it's going to be fine. I'm
It
sure you
is.
guys are going to find a way.
We will find a way to get there. We know that the gas tax alone on a Buc-ee's is equivalent to all the gas tax currently, with every gas station currently paying a gas tax in St. Lucie County today. Buc-ee's in itself will make and bring in more gas tax than all the gas stations we have. And with electric cars, gas tax is down.
Yeah, for sure.
Because of the electric vehicles. And so having a Buc-ee's here is going to bring back up the revenue for the gas tax.
Honestly, Buc-ee's is a tourism destination. and it will bring.
People travel. They make it a family day. They say, okay, we're going to Buc-ee's, and they drive to Daytona or St. Augustine. They make a day of it. They have lunch and they come back. Everybody here, you ever been to Buc-ee's?
No, oh, we only have a couple people that haven't been to a Buc-ee's. Now, here's the problem. The one thing, it's not manufacturing, right? So the buck doesn't stop here, but the gas tax stops here, and any other amenities, and their sales force, their sales tax.
Well, so
and
this is some good things about Buc-ee's. So Buc-ee's, they have a bathroom attendant, one of the women, one of the men's, and they're the cleanest restrooms in any public business. They start their employees at $20 an hour. They have a great 401k plan. They're a phenomenal corporation to work for. And I know some people have said, but they're going to hurt the small mom and pops. They don't. And here's why. So Buc-ee's is on the interstate, and people traveling up and down the interstate are not people that are going to pull into Buc-ee's. They're going to travel within a neighborhood that would have went in there to the McDonald's or to the food truck.
You are not going to see
or
me
to
at
the
Buc-ee's.
rocket fuel to get gas. So Buc-ee's is always on an interstate, and it's people that are just traveling by that are looking for a Buc-ee's or that know, hey, let me stop and get gas. The good thing about Buc-ee's is it's all one-stop shop. So when you go in, it's like a Cracker Barrel. They have the little country store where you can find anything you want, candles, whatever. They have their own Buc-ee's line. They have clothing, blankets, pillows, Christmas ornaments. They have a beef jerky. They do their own beef jerky. They have probably 100 different flavors of beef jerky. They have a smoke brisket and barbecue sandwich that is.
Well, they have actual deli counters.
No, they do.
Yeah,
but they're known for their
that.
brisket and barbecue. And then from that, they have the convenience side of stuff. They have a convenience store, and that they have like the convenience stores with the sandwiches and stuff. They have 100 gas pumps. They also have the electric charging stations. They sell smokers, barbecue grills, chairs. So if you're going to a mud fest and you forgot your cooker, you can pull in there and get a cooker. You can get firewood for your fire pit. They're like a Tractor Supply because they have stuff like that.
They're humongous.
They have everything you could ever need or imagine.
It's like a super Walmart in a gas station form.
And
it's
that's
crazy.
that's why they're a tourist attraction, because people, they go there because you can go there and get a great barbecue sandwich. Fudge, it's phenomenal fudge.
Yeah,
and it's everything's done right there. They make their own stuff.
They're also known for their customer service. You don't usually wait in line at Buc-ee's too long, even though there's a couple hundred people there at any given moment.
It's a well-ran business.
It is very well run. They have quite a bit of staff, and what I like about it is we will be getting the gas tax. We will be doing the sales tax. They will be hiring our local people. You will not see me at Buc-ee's because I am not going out there, when I can go to my neighborhood store. That is for tourists, and it will bring lots of them, and I can't wait. Now, my husband will, because their barbecue is quite good. I'm not a fan of barbecue, sadly, but I don't think you're going to see too many. You're not going to run out there and see everybody locally hanging out there for lunch. No, it's going to be all the people going to Orlando and Miami. So
I was going to say,
don't worry.
I'm like you. I'm going to continue to get my gas locally.
Yeah. Oh, heck.
And I'm going to continue to go to my little food truck guy to get my barbecue. Eli's up there at Lakewood Park. But
yes.
But I can't tell you that my aide's not going to be out there because she's obsessed with Buc-ee's. She even has a Buc-ee's bathing suit.
Oh no.
But it's not going to hurt the little guy. The little guy's going to be okay because we would never do anything that would hurt the little guy.
No, I agree with you.
Them.
As the Chamber of Commerce president, I agree with you 100%.
And I
ran more than it takes.
Champion small businesses. So I would never let somebody come here to compromise our small businesses.
No, it's going to bring more than it takes. All right, I think this was a great show. I enjoyed it. We never know what we're talking about when we sit down in the morning. We literally don't have a plan. We don't, talk earlier. We're just like,
we just wing it.
We'll see what happens. So I think we talked about those trim notices, which I think is important for people. People are dying to know about their Buc-ee's. I'm excited to give them some good news.
Does anybody have any questions real quick?
Before we go, does anybody have any questions? Okay. Mike doesn't have the mic, so I'd have to repeat it, but they don't have any questions. Okay. Don't worry, Mike. No panic. And I want to thank Kathy, as always, and A&G Pools, my friends, the Leonards. I don't know how this community would do without them. They do so much in this community. And I'm going to try to get them. We're going to try to move the show to a Thursday next year so we can get them more. So if you're chair again, maybe you'll be willing to do a Thursday because it's going to be up to the Board of County Commission.
We'll work it out.
Yeah. So because I want to see them
work it out. We just adjust our schedules.
I hope so because I really want to see them on Fridays are virtually impossible for them, but they are of course our great partners. And Mike at Steamworks, honestly, I'm going to be mad if I hear that anybody I know hasn't been out to Steamworks or had Steamworks coffee. He does a lot for our community too. He does a lot for us. And he is a small local business without a drive-through right there on US 1. It's great atmosphere. He makes his own blends. He's a coffee
I agree.
connoisseur.
It is good coffee.
Right? And well, he spends time with it, right? He's developing new ones all the time. It's a very unique spot. Head out to Mike's Steamworks on US 1 in Port St. Lucie. Very easy to find. And thanks to your staff here at the county, Mike and Stefan, and my staff, Nash. You always make sure I get here on time and know where I'm supposed to go, which is a feat in itself. And of course, Florida County Commission Chair Kathy Townsend.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. Have a good weekend.
Have a great day.